You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast. I'm Andy Smith.
And I'm Tim Fulton.
This is Dear Bros.
Dear Bros.
Two dudes in the top of a barn giving you life advice.
We're not in a barn, we're in a professional studio, can't you? At the beach.
It's a fucking barn.
It's a barn. It's hot.
Tim, you got the first writer that didn't write to us.
Flying solo.
Flying solo.
So this one is actually entitled, Mom Holds On to Belief, Daughter Will Marry Someday. This one's a little lengthy. Dear Abby, I feel like I do better on my own. I don't want kids. I don't want a husband. I don't want commitment. I've accepted that I'm better by myself, but my mother, who is religious, is still convinced that I will want a kid one day. She feels she knows this, even though I've told her many times that I wouldn't be able to handle a husband or children. I've done my best to grin and bear it, but I feel guilty for disappointing her by not fulfilling her fantasy about my having a breadwinner husband and being a trophy wife with perfect kids. It's not that she won't get to be a grandmother, she already is. But my sister isn't perfect, and I don't like that Mom wishes me to be what the rest of my siblings couldn't be. Also, I can tell the idea of my being bisexual makes her queasy. She is still in denial. What can I do when she says things like, I can't wait until I have a husband or a kid of my own, or when she makes the same irritating face whenever anything about anyone's sexual orientation is mentioned? Likes it solo in Texas.
Let your freak flag fly. Do you?
You do you. But, all right, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's say she generally doesn't want to disappoint Mom, but she doesn't want to do what Mom wants, and it's not like something you can compromise on because it's an awfully big topic. What do you think?
Okay, if this was like, hey, you know, I really wish you would stop drinking during the day. Okay. If it's like, hey, I want you to involve multiple people in this decision that you really are against and like hope it doesn't go bad and that you end up wanting that. The girl don't want to fucking be with anybody. It's her fucking choice. If she knows that she's a psycho or she's a, you know, I just do better on my own. I don't want a commitment. I like flying, you know, or marching to the beat of my own drum and I'm too much to handle or I just like my freedom. Whatever. It's her fucking decision. And her mom has got to leave her the fuck alone.
So how do you calm Mom down?
I would just, bro advice here. I would just make her not want to ask the question anymore. Like every time she brings something up, just start talking about some fucking, you know, girl she was scissoring the night before because she's bisexual or whatever. Just to get her so like afraid to even bring up the comment of that. But like she's got to do it in a way where like she does it as like the nicest daughter of all time. So that, like, her mom doesn't take it as a slight. She just takes it as her being, like, innocent and aloof. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's just all good. And just make it so unbearable for the mom to even ask that question.
I can't wait for you to have a husband. Mom, I met a man last night at the orgy I went to.
Yeah.
He was the biggest one there. And we're in love.
And his sister. Let me tell you about his sister.
I'm getting married to 2 men.
Yeah, dude. Like, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I could, yeah.
The religious thing and all that, like, I get it. Like, people have fucking weird upbringings and it makes them hold on and be married to these, like, ideas. And she probably wants her daughter to have the life that she thinks everyone should be leading. And it says that, it sounds like she's got a little bit of a issue with her sister.
Yeah, she threw in that slate.
Yeah, she said, like, my sister isn't perfect and, like, my mom doesn't, she wants me to, like, make up for her shortcomings with, like, the kids.
That was discreetly being like, my mom wants me to have a husband. My sister's a bitch. Anyway.
Yeah, or like whatever.
Fuck.
Maybe bad marriage. I don't know what that means.
There's other siblings too, because she says, but my sister isn't perfect, blah, 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 blah. And the rest of my siblings, where are they?
Oh, it wishes that the rest of my siblings couldn't be. I like how, like, when the writer that writes in just, like, throws in these little things and never expands.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's the most interesting part. And you just tic-tac commented it. Just a little touch.
We're intrigued. We want to interview you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think, what is a productive way to get her to stop doing it? I say just fucking...
You're never going to win that conversation. There is no productive way. It's when when a mountain or when an unstoppable force
meets an immovable object.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. She's not like she's just in this. She could very well change her mind in 5 years or whatever.
Who knows?
Who cares? But
Dude, that'd be
the
the
quickest
biggest
way
I
to
told
get
you so.
somebody to not do something is to keep telling them to do it. Especially when it comes to like shit that you're very unsure about. That's like big decisions.
Yeah.
Not like try this cake. It's like that's a 5-minute commitment, right? You try the cake and you're fine. But this is like, hey, sign up for something for the next 20 years, and you're like, oh no, thank you. Like I was reluctant on that to begin with, but now I really don't want to do it. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? How do you get her to get off your back about that?
You don't. I that's what my honest opinion is that that's just something you're gonna have to deal with for a very long time.
It sounds like her. All right, so she's bisexual.
Yeah.
And that means she goes both ways.
Yes.
So her mom is in denial that she's bisexual.
But that almost sounds like a moot point, because if you don't want to be with someone anyway, I mean, it's not like you're going to talk to mom in all seriousness about someone you were scissoring last night. So so that part to me doesn't matter. Because it doesn't. It doesn't.
No,
it's not like
but
you have
it's
to introduce
also,
her to
it sounds like the mother has a problem with her being bisexual.
a religious woman from Texas. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
but the denial thing, and this is going in deep. The denial thing fixed in with her wanting to get her married and her not liking the fact she's bisexual might want her, because religious people are not I'm painting with broad brush. People that are part of groups, very concerned with what the other people of that group think. So she might be like getting comments from her friends like, how come Sarah's not married yet?
Yep.
It's like, oh, she likes banging dudes and chicks. She might just want to be like, see, she's not bisexual. She has a husband and she's a kid.
That could be part of it.
Old
people just, for a lot of people, they like grandkids.
It's ageist.
They want, no, shut up. They want as many grandkids as possible. My parents talk about that all the time. They're decently liberal parents, but like they've openly said, we want as many grandkids as humanly possible.
Okay.
I think old people just like having grandkids. They
What
like
to put a gun to someone's head? Like, you better fucking start having kids.
Mom stole a grandchild. That's how we ended up with baby George.
What?
Took him at the supermarket. It was like, this is my grandchild now.
Jesus Christ.
Mom.
So, yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one.
All right, let's see what Abby has to say. Dear likes it. Abby.
Oh, likes it solo in Texas was the rare.
Yeah, but I feel like Abby did a thing there.
Yeah, she likes it solo, she should have said.
Dear likes it. Because you have told your mother repeatedly that marriage and parenthood aren't what you want, when she brings it up, change the subject. Do not allow her to make you feel guilty for wanting to live your life the way you see fit. It is your life, not hers. And you were not put on this earth to fulfill her fantasy or make up for your sister's deficits. See, she agrees. She doesn't say, this is how you work on mom. She says, you have to live with it. Do the best you can.
Control what you can change. Control what you can change. Hear that? That's wisdom. We're so full of shit.
Not true.
We should make an Instagram post on that.
I'm the smartest bro ever. All right. Time for yours, buddy. Yikes.
Mine is yikes.
What is it?
So this one is, I chose this one because it's uncomfortable.
Oh, no.
It's very uncomfortable, and there's a lot of layers to it. All right? So I'm going to like...
Ogres have layers.
I'm just going to be...
Buffets have layers.
Yeah, I'm just gonna read it. Okay.
Go ahead.
Dear bros, Brabby.
Dear Brabby.
I've been with my husband for 29 years, 25 of them married. We've had good times and bad times, like most couples. Uh-oh, she's already setting the scene. She's just letting everyone know
No, that's
that
true.
It's not a perfect marriage.
That's
She's
true.
letting everyone know that it's, hey, good and bad on both sides. But over the last 4 years, things have changed. We came to a place where we both needed to decide whether we wanted to continue in our marriage. We went to counseling, and I pursued my own personal growth, trying new things that I was interested in, and finding gratitude and happiness in my interest and career. My husband did the same. Now I have moved past it, forgiven, told my husband I love him, and hope he feels the same. You know what he said? He said he doesn't know. He said he needs more time. Frankly, it's been already... Wait. Frankly, has already been a... Something's going on with my microphone here.
Please hold for difficult technical...
Chaka Khan.
Chaka Khan.
Okay. Oh, maybe it's my headphones.
So I'm gonna.
Okay,
Okay.
I think I got it. So shit.
I'm gonna keep reading while you.
No, I got it.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, here we go.
We just lost all of our fans.
Our technical difficulties have been solved. Okay, so he said he doesn't know. He said he said he needs more time. Frankly, it's already been a long time, and it's upsetting to have to wait for him to make up his mind. I've become frustrated. He says I don't have to stay, and I'm free to do what I want. Trouble is, I want my husband, and I want him to want me back. What do I do? Question mark. I take care of myself, and I have a healthy sex drive. Sex happens rarely, and I end up being rejected more often than not. He's also had an emotional affair with a woman he knows, but he thinks I made too much of it. That was about 18 months ago. Help, please. Okay. Remember the whole like glossing over shit?
Yeah.
Okay. There's some of that in this.
Okay.
So, initial thoughts before I start just
I'm
making
going
everyone
to,
mad.
You're probably going to agree with a lot of what I'm saying.
Okay.
I believe, but I'm going to just unleash. It sounds like she came up with the idea of having some sort of separation because she wanted to have. She even says it herself. She found new interests. She became career oriented. She did.
Yeah.
She was very successful. She's the one with the healthy sex drive. Blah 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 blah. She wants her cake she wants to have her cake and eat it too. She's done with that part of it, and now she wants to get back to a relationship. And I feel like the husband is trying to find a polite way of saying no without outright. He's afraid to pull the plug. That's the impression I'm getting. She talks about him having an emotional affair with another woman, which is weird because it sounds like that they had a trial separation for 4 years.
I'm just going to throw this out there and say that I'm not even going to give a disclaimer. How this is written, gut feeling, is that if that was an actual real thing, she would have elaborated on that.
Okay.
I think that was just him had a friend who happened to be a woman, and because of what the circumstance was between those two, it was looked at like an affair.
Yeah.
Could be totally wrong, but I'm just saying the level of detail that goes into everything else, the affair was one sentence, not elaborated, not saying anything about it. That's a huge deal if it's an affair.
Yeah.
The emotional affair, putting this weird label on it where it's not like an emotional affair, like, what is that? What is the emotional affair?
I guess it just means where you end up.
Is that like, oh, you had a friend who just happened to be of the opposite sex?
I feel like, yes, but I feel like it ends up being someone who ends up being more significant than your spouse. So if you had a spouse and you really liked her, and then you had a female friend, but you really liked her as a person, more so than your wife, that would be. I'm not the one saying that.
Yeah, but how do you quantify that?
It's hard. That's why people get into fights about it.
Yeah, but that seems to me like a. I mean, I get it. They're going through shit, so obviously your compass isn't pointing north as far as like how to judge things.
Yeah.
But you should know, like, all right, if it's an affair or it's not an affair. Like, an emotional affair is kind of like really weird. Where like if that's your friend and it's your friend, it's your friend. But I don't know. It's only one sentence. I don't have anything else to go by.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is a hard thing to quantify. And like you were saying, obviously she's been going through things for the past 4 years. At some point, you become emotionally compromised, and it becomes very difficult. People, and even us right now, it becomes very black and white for us to a certain extent.
Because we're not in this. We're totally removed. We can say shit and go to sleep with no regard.
But she's been in it for 4 years.
29 years.
Well, we'll say 25 goodish years, but she said the past 4 years have been rough.
Yeah.
So for the past 4 years have been difficult to say the least. So it becomes hard to see clearly when stuff like that happens, and everything either becomes an extreme. It's very hard to live that way.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this lady is being a little selfish. And I don't give a shit. That's the end of my story. No. Think about it like this.
Bitch.
If you guys are taking a trial separation, or you guys both are working on your own thing, Is it fair if one person gets to where they want to be sooner than the other person and then turns around and is like, I'm all done fixing what I had to fix. You should be done now too. It doesn't take people the same amount of time, right? Just because she thinks it's a long time, it might have been a week too soon. But that now sets him back because if he's just not sure, if he's just like, I'm not sure, like I need more time. You guys took a separation, or you guys did this whole thing where you're doing your own thing. Like maybe he's just not at that point, and she's looking at it like, can you fucking believe this? It's like, well, hold on. You were doing the same thing. So if he came to you a week, just think about it this way. If he came to her 2 weeks into her doing her own thing, it was like, hey, you ready? And she was just like, oh no, like I'm not ready. Like I'm not ready to do this. And he's just like, well, I fixed all my problems. Like, where are you standing? There's no fucking book that says you need this amount of time or that amount of time or whatever.
Yeah, and it also sounds like that they kind of took, I don't want to say half-assed because there's no one right way to do anything, but it kind of sounds like they took like a half-assed approach to this because she was saying that she has a healthy sex drive, she's rejected more often than not. To me, that kind of implies that she's trying, which if you have been separated for 4 years, either do it or don't. Like,
well, no, I don't know if they've been separated for 4 years. It just says the last 4 years things have changed. We came to a place where we decided we wanted to, so they were going back and forth. Does that mean it was happening for 4 years?
I think so.
But how long has it been since she decided to get back together? Because all she says is that it's been a while.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
She doesn't say how long.
So there are a couple of question marks here.
But you see how like certain things are like explicitly stated, and then there's like these, it's been a while. Like being real shitty about it, but
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. This one's a weird one.
But she's clearly feels slighted by saying like, do you know what you want to know what he's like this piece of shit said to me? Like she came to the term of like, okay, I'm ready today. But because he wasn't ready that day, she's looking at it like, fuck you. Like, not everyone moves at the same fucking pace.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say we're quick to jump on people and be like, fuck
I'm just
this
being
bitch.
an asshole.
Yeah, we're just being assholes. But I'm going to give her, like, the credit here and say, maybe she's not a complete bitch, but she needs to take a step back and breathe.
I don't think she's being a bitch.
Oh no, she's being a bitch.
I think she's just too wrapped up in her own view of the situation.
Yeah, exactly. She's caught up in her own view. She needs to take a step back, take a deep breath. Maybe she needs more of a break.
Also, too, like if she has a sexy health drive, but like say it was the opposite in the beginning, like she didn't find her husband attractive because they were both having fights and all this stuff. Like it's like today versus 2 months from now, like the roles could have switched.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is all very strange. She's got to kind of like say, oh, we agreed to do this. We didn't say we're going to meet back in 4 years. We just said we're going to do our own thing.
Yeah.
So as much as it sucks, you can't really you can be pissed, but you're not really allowing what you guys said to happen.
Yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, and we'll go to Abby after this. At the end of the day, the two of you are married. And when you made your vows, I'm assuming, you agreed for better or for worse, but you also agreed to be your spouse's partner and to help them with what they need. And if her husband point blank said, I need more time, you can't be like, well, that's not good.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to give him help him get what he needs to a certain extent. There are limitations.
Here's
but
the thing.
You have to try.
Maybe they're in this spot for a reason that they shouldn't be together.
Yeah.
Listen, I understand that you have the old school romantic fantasy about like nobody that gets married ever gets divorced, but it does happen. People get married when they shouldn't.
I know.
And sometimes it takes a long time for them to figure that out.
I know.
Now, I'm not saying 25 years, but what I'm saying is if it's this bad or whatever, I'll put it to you this way. If she's going to be happy, if your friend came up to you and said, listen, my wife's in love with me still. She wants nothing to do but to get married or to keep the marriage and all that stuff. Like she's happy with me no matter what, but I'm miserable. What advice do you give him? And you say, listen, we tried counseling. We tried trial separation. It's not there. I love her as a person, but like I'm miserable with her.
I point him to the chapter in the history book about Henry VIII. Problem solved.
Yeah. So you have So it's conflict in your head.
No divorce. Henry VIII.
That's
I'm kidding.
okay.
I'm
So
kidding.
what would you really give advice?
I don't know. It would really depend on the details, and I'm not just saying that just to play devil's advocate. It would really depend.
You have to make a decision. This is a show, okay? You have to make a decision.
All right.
What advice would you give your
Fine.
friend?
Blow the back of her head off.
No, so you're not playing by the rules because the answer is not
No,
what you want
no,
it to be.
no.
That's what it is.
No.
Your advice would be, dude, you don't want to be miserable for the rest of your life, do you? If that's what it is, don't be miserable.
It depends on the circumstances. If I ask him, hey, why are you miserable? And he says, she's a terrible human being. She berates me. She makes me feel like a garbage. She constantly is like telling me off, blah, blah, blah. I would say, you know what? That's not healthy. Maybe you guys should separate. If I say, why are you miserable? And he says, well, she likes to peg me sometimes. I'm going to be like, well, there might be not a compromise, but that you might be able to work on that.
Okay. Erase that. Erase all that.
But that's my point.
But what I'm saying is, if you're miserable with someone for whatever reason, could just be like you don't click anymore.
Yeah, but
does that change the fact that you're miserable?
No, but just because you're miserable doesn't mean you automatically should stop trying.
It's been 25 years, 4 years into the bad times. And what I'm saying is, when do you tell your friend, get out? Because it's not working.
And I'm telling you, I need more details.
So you're such a little bitch.
But,
you're such...
Dude, I'm telling you that not anytime people... See, this is the problem. I'm going to be an old little piece of shit right now. This is the problem in society these days. People encounter a little bit of problem, and their immediate thought is, this isn't good for me.
It's 25 years.
Of good and bad.
All right, 4 years. 4 years of bad.
4 years of bad. And who knows? Maybe she's exaggerating the bad. Maybe he's enjoyed his past 4 years. Maybe he's at the status quo.
Probably because he's not with her.
But we don't know. That's my point. Just because you've hit an obstacle, and even though things are hard,
I agree,
doesn't mean you automatically have to give up.
I agree.
That is why I'm saying I would personally need more details before if I tell. And I'm not saying that there is no reason why people should get divorced ever. Obviously, there are situations where people should get a divorce. Clear.
Yes.
But I would need more information to make that determination.
I
want to see people, and I'm definitely in that camp, sorry to interrupt you, that I would like to see people try more than they currently do.
Yes. My question was a little bit loaded, I guess. But what I'm saying is that, say, gave it the old college try, everything that could have been done. Like, your friend was basically like, listen, dude, like, I've tried everything I can think of. I've gone to counseling. I've gone all this stuff. And, like, I'm miserable when I'm with them. It's nothing they're doing. I don't know why. I've worked on this for 4 years and I can't figure it out. And it's just be like, I just think it's just that we just don't get along or whatever. And it's like, do I live the rest of my life because I made a decision 25 years ago to just like deal with it? Like deal with it for the rest of my life, hoping that it might get better? Or do I leave? And I don't know what the answer is.
I generally don't know either.
I don't know what the answer is, but all I know is that it sounds like really shitty when you say it this way, but if someone is miserable, like it's almost like if someone is terrified of elevators and you're in the elevator and you're like, it's just an elevator. But in their head, they're freaking the fuck out. Like, I can't take this elevator. It's like, does it really matter if they're overreacting? Or they can't figure out why the elevator is so scary. Like, they've tried everything, but, like, just elevators are their thing that they're miserable in. Like, it doesn't matter that you look at it like it's not that big a deal. For them, it's like, I don't know why. It's just elevators are my nightmare. Or whatever. Like, that might be where he's at, where he's just like, I don't know what it is. I'm miserable in elevators. I'd be like, get out of the elevator. Don't go in elevators.
You make weird
Take the
analogies.
stairs.
So... And this is where I'm going to end it before I want to read Abby's response.
I just was kind of trying to get you to fucking go off on a rant there for a little bit.
But I don't think that the more I think about it, the more I don't think that they've actually done a true trial separation. And this is why I'm for them. Because you don't always have to pull the trigger automatically and like 100% we get a divorce or 100% we're together until the end of time. Take 3 months. Go somewhere else. Go on dates. Do your own thing.
That's weird.
Don't-
That's where it gets weird. That's where it gets weird. When you're married for 25 years, that's where it gets weird, man.
I'm not saying go out and fuck someone. I'm saying go out on a date.
What is this like? It's like saying like, oh, saying just go to a bar and have a drink. I'm not saying get drunk. It's like, well, yeah, but one usually leads to the other, especially when like you're 30. When you're
All right, Mr.
whatever.
Mr. Self-Control.
I'm just saying.
All right, whatever. Define your own rules in this, but don't have contact with each other. See if you end up missing them. See if you end up missing parts of them. See if you're still miserable. Maybe it's not them that's making you miserable.
That's true.
Maybe,
I think that's what happened here.
maybe you hate part of your own life. Maybe you just hate going to work every day, and it's bleeding into everything else that you do. You don't know.
You know what? I think that what might have happened is that both of them were like, yeah, trial separation or whatever this little thing is. And she was just like, I need to go do what I need to do. And like, I feel like I can't because I'm always taking care of him or whatever. But he might have been thinking like, she's going to fucking realize she don't want to be with me and I don't want to be with her. And at the end of this, we're just basically going to be like, hey, you know,
Good game.
good game. But it ended up like she might have actually did the things that she was going to do, and he might have just not known what to do. Like one of those people that just lost when you give him free time. Or maybe he was thinking she was going to come back in 6 months and be like, oh, yeah, I don't want to be with you. And he'd be like, whew, I'd avoided an awkward conversation. But then like she comes back with like this newfound love for her husband, and he's just like, I thought I was going to go the other way.
Damn it.
I got a whole new basket of eggs here.
I don't know. Let's see what Abby has to say. I'm
Okay.
genuinely curious what she has to say.
So, dear uncoupling, going off and being independent may have been the wrong path to take. Ooh. Your husband appears to have disconnected from you, both physically and emotionally. When he went off and, quote, tried things he was interested in, among the things he tried may have been the woman, with whom he had the affair.
Continue.
If you continue waiting for your husband to make up his mind, you could be sitting in limbo for years. You take care of yourself, have a healthy sex drive, and are entitled to a life. Now may be the time to make one for yourself.
Damn, Abs.
I was like half joking with my cynical thing there, but she's a lady, so she's not a guy. So that came from the mouth of a woman.
I don't like that you imply, which is funny. I normally like the answer she gives, but I don't like that she implies that he had an affair. You're
But
basically taking an emotionally unstable woman and saying, you know what? That affair you think he had, the emotional affair, it probably was a physical
That's what I'm
one,
saying.
too.
She didn't elaborate on what the emotional affair was. And then Abby takes it and she's like, he went balls deep in that girl. It's just like, whoa. It could have just been like, lady she works with is like, hey, having a bad day. Like, oh, what's up, kiddo? Like, what's happening? And you're like, just someone to talk to that's not a bro is like, hey, get your shit together, bro. Stop being a pussy. Like, maybe he has all friends like that.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fucking case. But the fact
I
that
don't
Abby
like
is
that.
just like, he's fucking dicking her down. You're just like, oh, shit.
I don't necessarily disagree with the second half. If they did have a separation and she's ready to be in a thing again and he's not, then
That's what I mean.
apples and oranges, blah, blah, blah. I would still like more details. But the first part, ugh.
Yeah, Abby, she did that thing where she gave her horrible advice very nicely.
To be fair, she didn't have like 20 minutes to talk it out.
No.
Because she had 2 paragraphs.
But she did that in a way, it was like this backhanded, like almost like what are those shows where all the white women that look like fucking jackals like go out and spend money? Housewives.
Oh, yeah.
They did it the way they would give advice.
Yeah, they did. She did.
Like she gave that, like, listen, like, maybe it's just not working. They're like, he's fucking someone else. Take his money and leave. Like, it was that kind of shit. Where you're like, are you really my friend? I'm not so sure.
Are you anyone's friend?
Hello.
Holy shit. This was a deep one. That's
Yeah.
what she said.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, that's it. We're done.
Yeah, we're done, guys. Let us know what you think of these the stories, whatever the fuck they are, in the comments down below. Don't forget, Dear Abby's a real communist. We don't mean to just steal her shit. Why don't you Google her up and read some of her good shit for yourself, so that way
communist? Columnist?
Columnist.
I thought you said communist.
Well, she
Yikes.
might be a communist. I don't know her. Find your stuff for yourself so that way I don't feel guilty about reading her things online. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us too. We'll get to them at some point. Last but not least, don't forget to go to brodownpro.com. We have new stuff coming out all the time, including our newest line, the D&D line. This is not one of the shirts, but there are a whole bunch of other cool D&D shit up there. Go check it out.
Embrace your inner nerd.
Embrace your inner nerd. It's a nerd fest up there, guys.
That's a t-shirt.
Talk to you guys next time. That is a t-shirt.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day.